Hi, ladies.
How you doing? You good?
You know definitely I work on everything.
I spoke to Claudia, the manager of the
So he is going for the bottom, right? So what it is that he was celebrating tonight.
Leslie Smith. Yeah. He was up here last month.
last month.
1 week. Yeah.
That's good, man.
Coming to Summit.
I think. Yeah, so I hope you can raise it with her. That's Petro.
Yeah, Petro. So this was our graduation ceremony. We met these kids yesterday. They were in the park. Yeah. So we're trying to help the kids, and we work with Chef Belinda because she's the one that interviews kids in Grenada for us. They have to be going to St. Joseph's Convent.
You go to name man.
Run the track. Yes. That's right. That's right.
Okay, but it's not even 7 o'clock yet. I think I'm
You should have something.
I agree. Oh, nice. Well, I want to certainly try that.
You want to?
we have Marby. Is that Marby?
Hello, good day again. Nice to meet you again. I have a message for you.
No problem.
From my friend.
Oh, well.
On her breast. I'm going to
God, oh my
I
God.
can take a picture and send it to you. She's lifting him up. That should be banned. Like them girls.
Them girls, yes.
No, they didn't say my son or my man. They said my friend.
Introduce him, and then he can say a few words to the people.
Good afternoon. Okay. I just want to get everybody's attention. And today is we normally do this thing after every event. After every one of our signature events. Yeah, but today is a special day for us in the sense that we have with us in our presence here the Minister of Culture. Just culture?
Youth sports and culture.
Right, that's what I was thinking because I know the ministries go together, you know?
Yes, it's
so I
a
wasn't
part of
thinking-
education.
Right, yes, because they keep everybody saying culture, culture. And I think it's because we deal with culture for the last couple of weeks. But it's youth, sports and culture, which is a very important portfolio in Grenada, I would say. Because the youth particularly is the future of tomorrow. But there's a young man here too, so I mean, we couldn't have a more ideal person representing young people because he had the thoughts, the thinking of the youths, you know? So I guess he would have the heart for the youths too. Sports is something that really comprises all the youth and maybe take them into a different realm because I used to play sports when I was a kid too. And sports was a very important part in my life. I take part in all discipline in high school. Even though I never win a medal, but I make sure I put points on the board for my team. Right? And culture, well, culture defines us more or less. Our culture defines us, who we are, what we do, okay? And so our culture go way back. So this brother here has a really big portfolio, an important portfolio. I would say it's not the most important, but one of the most important. Because without the youth Saturday, we don't have nothing for tomorrow really, okay? So on behalf of SIDAC, which is the Spice Island Cultural Day Association. And I want to say a special thanks to Gemma too, because I'm still trying to figure out how she did this. I mean, I was surprised because she didn't give me wind of anything. All I know is that we're having a little something here this evening, and I'm surprised. But I shouldn't be surprised because Gemma does things like that all the time. She just does it and it happens, right? So on behalf of SIDAC, the Spice Island Day Association of Quebec, I would like to say a pleasant welcome to you, brother. And I would like to introduce this brother here to the audience, right? So he would maybe say something to us, he would give us an update, bring us updated to what's happening, because we haven't had anybody here for a long time, eh? There's only that sister, what's her name? The youngest sister. Right, Kareem. And it was very nice too. Everything went pretty decent. So we had Kareem, and for a while now we haven't had anybody. So we in Montreal here, I want you to know that we still kind of griping over the fact that nobody come visit us. But we have patriots here too, you know? Yeah, we have patriots here too, you understand? And we have real Grenadians. I mean, as I told you yesterday, I believe from my experience that Grenadians are some of the most patriotic people you could find.
Yes.
You know, that's what I believe, right? So I just want to introduce Brother Andy.
Redhead.
Brother Redhead, Brother Ron Redhead. You see, I'm not too familiar with all the names now. I know the Prime Minister for sure.
Yes,
I know
yes.
Dick and Mitchell. and I know Toes,
Right.
who is Lennox Angus, because I'm from Harford Village, he's from Granbrook. We have known each other from, like, you know.
Yeah.
Yes, so, and I haven't been to, I was there before the election. So I only came back, when I came back, then the election took place.
Well, you're excused. I'm a young man, so I was
Okay, so I would like to introduce to the audience here Brother Ron Redhead. So I guess you would have a few words to say to us, right? So, and oh yes, and also sorry about Sister Dawn Francois, who is the consular or the ambassador, right? Consul General for Canada, right? Okay, so welcome here too. Okay? All right.
Thank you very much, and on his behalf, I do apologize. So let me take the opportunity to introduce myself. Certainly as the Honorable Ron Redhead, Member of Parliament for St. George Northeast, and also the Minister with responsibility for youth, sports, and culture. Indeed, honestly, it's a pleasure to come here. It's my first time, and to see that, and to everyone who made the moment a wonderful one. I say thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. I am going to report to the Prime Minister that we need to get up to speed to ensure that we get somebody in between Montreal, Toronto regularly, because the warmth, the love, the Grenadianism is beaming with pride. And certainly as we proceed to celebrating 50 years of independence, there is in plan to build the diaspora communities into a stronger link back at home, so that you can know what is going on, what is taking place, and we can actually institutionalize Grenadians all throughout the world. And when they celebrate their days, we must have this on our official calendar, talking about it, knowing who are the contact persons, people involved, and see how we can get the Grenadianism, as we are saying for this theme this year, recognized throughout the world. So we're really looking forward to continue collaborating, and we do not do enough of it. So I want to say also to all Grenadians here who give assistance to Grenada, thank you from the bottom of my heart on behalf of all Grenadians, the Most Honorable Prime Minister and Cabinet colleagues, and certainly all the people living in Grenada. Thank you to all of you who make sacrifice and contributions back home in Grenada. You're doing a wonderful job. We appreciate it, and keep on doing that. So for Grenada, on the road to 50, we're looking forward to a continued strengthening of our relations in the diaspora, and certainly bringing that love back home next year. In February, it's going to be a 1-year celebration. So it will commence in September and end in December. So we're going to have a spicy Christmas, hopefully. Nice. I like to hear that. I like to hear that. So do prepare, do plan, and we're looking forward. So guys, one love, and continue the good work.
Okay, yes, so what I would say now is that I think we would have an interaction with the minister. I guess he might have people here who have things that they would like to find out what's happening. Well, at least he gave us some good inspiration here. Because I tell you something too, it's just fortunate. I have a lot of history when it comes to Grenada, as a person, as an individual. So in 1974, I was a member of what you call the Grenada Defense Force, that everybody called the Green Beast. Right? So I was there as a youth, out of high school, 1974. I was 17 years old. I turned 18 on February 25th, and Grenada became independent on February 7th, 1974. So I was one of the first contingent that marched in Queen's Park with a green uniform and being called Green Beast. But I'm proud of that, because I wasn't political. I was just somebody who wanted to serve the nation. And this is something that I still feel deep within my heart, right? I just was about service to Grenada. So I guess people here might have questions. You might want to ask something. There's something you might want to find out. So I think we could open up the, so anybody who have a question for the minister could go right ahead and ask him. All right? Thank you very much.
Or we could just continue enjoying the good food and
I have a question.
of course.
No, I just want to tell you that we're coming to Grenada February 4th to the 11th, Spice Island Cultural Festival, bringing a group to Grenada. So we want to know, are you going to have a party for us when we get there?
So to answer your question, there is going to be at least two. The Governor General is going to host a dinner, a gala, for the independence, and also, thankfully, the Minister is going to have a dinner, so to speak. So what we can do is certainly find a way to organize that, so that we will know from Toronto, New York, etc., who are the groups, who are the delegations, and take the information and get it done.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. We also have in our midst two of the best Calypsonians and soca artists in Grenada, that when we get to Grenada, we expect them to invite us also. We have Redhead, and you all know what Redhead is? Anybody know? Not
Well, of
you.
course you know.
Your family. No family.
What did you say? Redneck or redneck?
No, there's a redhead and a redneck. Okay?
Oh, redneck.
Kendrick? Kendrick?
Redneck. Nobody? All you jumping up yesterday with redneck and y'all don't know redneck?
His name is Kendall.
Who asked you?
Kendall.
Yeah, his name is spelled backwards. It's redneck. And his real name is Kendall. And he's having a baby, not him personally, his wife is having a baby in about a month. So let's give him a big hand. He's going to be a daddy. And we also have one of my favorite Calypsonians.
Mr. Squeezy!
I like him to squeeze me.
Okay, guys. I was just about to say, in case you guys didn't know, I'm also a tour guide in Grenada.
Okay.
I speak German, I speak French and Spanish, and I take a lot of people from all over the world around Grenada and tell them about the history about Grenada. So when you guys come to Grenada, I'll be your tour guide.
One thing.
Yes, she is. We work together. She does French, because most of the time French people and German come together. I do German and she do French. Okay.
Crazy, I thought you speak English. You only name 3 languages.
No, I don't speak English, I speak Grenadish.
We also have in our audience, our former president of the Spice Island Cultural Festival and Spice Island Cultural Day Association, and also the former honorary council for Grenada in Montreal, Mr. Ted Blaze.
Thank you. Thank you.
I wanted to say something too. There's something that I missed out here, and I think that is really important. We have a brother here by the name of Uncle, right? Uncle. Uncle has been one of the most dedicated, when I came to Canada here, which is over 30 years ago, dedicated, patriotic Grenadian you could find. Uncle has lost his sight right now, but he is here with us. Uncle, put Uncle stand up there, Uncle take a bow. His name is Peter Charles. Uncle take a bow.
Bring Uncle to take a picture with the minister.
Right, so any questions, you guys go ahead and ask questions, what you want to hear, what you feel you want to know. I see we have some fella, he call him Flick It, look him in the back there. Here, all the morning you're telling me about the minister, come talk to him now. All day talking to me about the minister, you know. Look him here now.
Yes, man. Wonderful.
Just wait a second. I understand you've started implementing this new process of lighting the playing fields all throughout Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. So is this ongoing? Do you what's this process here?
All right, so it's something that we inherited, but one of the challenges that we had is that the playing fields that were being lit, there was not specification. So for example, you would just light a playing field, but that may not have been the playing field that the community required to be lit. So we are now putting that process in place. We had good conversation with the contractor, and we have since pulled it back. In some instances, two contractors doing the same field and all these other things. This was the situation we inherited, and we've since sorted out some of it, not all of it, but it's a work in progress. The aim is that we are going to upgrade most of the facilities. We have 8 major playing fields, excluding the National Stadium. So the aim is to upgrade all of those playing fields and have them in good quality so that we could really push sports in a professional way, rather than just a little hobby that somebody is doing on the side of the road. So getting it up to standard is critical. We are also going to be lighting the National Stadium because we want night cricket. In fact, the benefits of night cricket is greater than the day, in particular with 2020, right? So, I mean, West Indies is not doing so good now, but it's a work in progress. Yeah, it's a work in progress. But the intention is to have the facilities at a quality standard. Something that we changed immediately when we got in was that there was just maintenance contractors. We are now putting in facility managers. So people now would have the responsibility overall, one individual, to manage things. If a pipe is broken, etc., they fix that. And they don't wait on central government to have to see that all on the news before you get some kind of solution. So these are the steps that we are taking to really upgrade the quality of our playing fields, because we see that there is benefit. As mentioned earlier on, the link between young people and sports is critical. We cannot develop our young people without sports. And part in some of the challenges that we have in society today is because they're not playing that. When I was growing up, we used to play cricket and thing in the streets. We didn't have the facilities, but now we have the opportunity. It's time to upgrade.
Excellent. Thank you, Minister. A follow-up question, I should stand. Since you're talking about upgrading,
Yeah.
are you including proper drainage? That has always been a problem.
It is. So the Ministry of Infrastructure is responsible for doing all of those assessments. What we have found is that the majority of playing fields, and proper drainage is not the only issue, the fields themselves. So the constituency that I lead, Vendom is listed as the worst playing field by way of drainage, because in Vendom, if you know the area, the mountain is right up there. So you have a constant flow of water which comes into the playing field as well. And the truth is, what we need is professionals who can do that. But I'll be honest, it is a costly venture, right? Just to do these drainage through these fields. So we've since worked with one of the contractors. They've prepared a scope of work. It's going to cost us 120-something thousand EC dollars to fix a field. But we'll have to see how we can do it in stages. But all in all, drainage is a major concern. Again, the fact that fields are not fenced is also a major concern. Vehicles will just drive on and damage and so on. When the artists like Squeezy and Redhead are the big shows, you know what has happened to it. But we're working on a good policy to see how we can compensate, even though an artist is using a playing field, that afterwards there is a repair program and maintenance immediately, so that we don't leave it to deteriorate. Yeah. So it is.
I'm president of Greenz Nationals Association of Montreal. Nice to meet you, and thank you for coming to Montreal. I had a great time. The artists, the performances were great. Everyone, Redneck and Squeezy, and nice to meet you, Mr. Redhead and Don Francois. It was nice seeing you again. And we welcome everybody else who came. I know there were a lot of people I met yesterday at the park who came from New York and Toronto to come and display the items or sell the items and promote Redhead. So thank you for that. Regarding culture, sometimes I would have friends around Independence and other occasions like that. I would have friends, like a friend might come from New York and say, "Oh, do you know the words to that song? Do you know, with the culture?" And in the past, we've had like 4 groups in Grenada. We have folk songs, and at those moments, we want to perform some traditional song, but sometimes there is no way we can find the words because it was not passed down. Although we may know the tone or the melody, some of the words are not very clear. Is there anything you have in place where we can find those, preserve those, those folk songs and those culture?
Right. Yeah, and so excellent question. Right now, there may not be a direct or a glaring person that you could go to right now. So let me say, one of the things we are doing is to institutionalize the teaching of history, Grenadian history in schools. Right, the Ministry of Education already has the workbook written by a Grenadian, and the intention is that all of the elements of our history will be taught in schools. So all of these folk songs, all these things, we can then organize it out of it. In other words, it's not going to be instant profit. It will take some planning out. So when it's implemented in September of this year, it will still take some further planning to be able to roll out throughout. But it's a key issue. In fact, in Jamaica, if you need whatever song from Bob Marley or whoever it is, you can get that online, easy. In Grenada, it's difficult. This is something we need to do. Publish our official stories, publish our information. We're not doing enough of that. While we have these organizations, the ability for them to get accurate information is still posing to be a challenge. But we're working on that. Once we implement teaching of Grenadian history, we are confident that it's going to help to institutionalize Grenadians all over the world. I have two lovely children, and I would like them to know what I knew when I was a little boy. So it's a work in progress, but it's critical.
All right, let me just add something to that. There is a woman called Miss Ramdani. She used to teach folk songs in all the schools in Grenada, and she still lives. So she would be the best person to contact.
So her name was raised in helping to assist. The other aspect is
Miss Ramdani.
Okay. So the other element to this, we need to open training centers throughout every parish in Grenada as a support element. So one of the things that we saw in culture as a deficit, there is nowhere making costumes. So the shortney costume, for example, nobody is producing that en masse. In fact, if you had to get that, you had to call somebody who might know somebody and all kind of type of thing. You know, when a Grenadian giving direction, we don't go somewhere. It's like that. So we have to fix that. We have piloted a project with one of the mass bands, Oro, to do costume making, wire bending, so that we can teach people how to do that. We are working to see how we can sign an MOU with the Pan Association to see how we can start teaching pan and pan tuning, right? So the talent is there in Trinidad, but we need to bring it up and have him stay here for some years and get it in the National Training Agency and institutionalize it. So it can go across, be taught in schools, etc. So that whole framework that is required to really roll out Grenada's history and culture, we are building it now, and hopefully we can succeed, and we can continue to teach Grenadian history and all of our folk songs and all the elements, you know, making of the shot, the mass, and just you name it. We want to institutionalize that, so it's a work in progress.
And to add to it also, there is a history book that is written by ex-Prime Minister George Brizan.
Yes.
Grenada, the Isle of Conflict.
Yes.
This is the best history book ever written about Grenada.
That's
Don't you know who owned the rights? Don't you know who owned the rights now?
No.
The Mormons.
Oh, yeah?
The Mormons. They came to Grenada and realized that you guys don't want to know all your history.
Yeah.
So they institutionalize it for themselves.
Yeah.
And now to get that history book, you're going to have to buy it online. It costs over 180 something US dollars. Grenada, the Isle of Conflict. You get all the history about Grenada there. Once you get that book, you're good to go.
How do they come and install this?
The Mormons, they come to Grenada and they realize that you guys are interested in all your history. So they want to control. So when they buy the rights for it and are they just ready to know all your history and they go pay for it and they go make that money.
But it's, yeah, because it belongs
teach us our history in school.
Exactly.
We learn part of Jamaica, actually, West Indian history, and we learn folk tale history. Things like Bear Nancy and Bear Frog and Bear this. We never learn proper history.
Not that we wasn't interested.
We never learn proper history.
We have to blame our politicians and all of them for them things. You understand?
See, so this is why we need to correct that law. And we need to ensure that what we are getting is actual fact. Because the danger is that this will be an opportunity for some people to come and slip in misinformation, dishonesty. So, you know, we really have to go through a kind of large-scale operation to ensure that we get this right and we can continue for generations to come. It's critical. It's critical. You just have to have the vision and work towards it. We're going to get stumbling blocks because you may not be able to get all the information on Grenada that you need. But I think if we go by step, it's going to happen. And starting with the children, that is critical. Very important.
For Canadians, the book is $196.68. This is an investment.
Glad to see.
Maybe institutions can purchase it and you know. Like
Well, I have a physical copy.
Normal people wouldn't buy that.
The interesting thing about this, that when I was reading it because during the COVID-19 situation, I kind of wanted to get an appreciation as to what was the health structure that existed back in that time. And George Brizan in that book wrote about the structure that existed for healthcare. I think there was the Black Plague or something like that that came to Grenada. And he identified the weaknesses of the port of entry, and he identified, I think, the inability of the local community health facilities to be able to treat with it. Some of the nurses, they didn't even understand what to do. So similarly, there were patterns with COVID-19. And you know what that told me? We didn't improve on that from that era. Why? Because it's something that we were not really taught about much. By my age, I didn't know anything about Black Plague coming to Grenada. So it's a lesson I think we could learn. And this is I think when COVID came, those were the areas that were identified almost immediately. The inability of the system to help you cope with the amount of people falling ill and also the ports of entry. Right? I mean, we needed it for tourism, etc., but it was also very vulnerable, and what we needed to do to help protect. So I think there's a lot of lessons in that book that we could learn.
Actually, I'm not sure I'm saying the right things here, but I heard that with that same Black Plague, there are some graves in St. Patrick's in an area where some of these people were buried. I don't know the true fact of this, but maybe it exists from that same Black Plague.
I can't confirm.
Yeah, there are some graves in St. Patrick's.
St. Patrick's got a lot of history because the Carib leap, everything is there. Yeah, very much.
It needs to be, because looked into and put up signage and
Don't you know the first time they identified sickle cells is a Grenadian doctor. He had studied in California, came back to Grenada, died in Grenada from sickle cells. That's the first time the world had known that there is a disease called sickle cells. And he's buried in the St. Patrick's Cemetery right there.
They need to create a monument there.
And a lot of you guys in Grenada don't know that 60 to 70% of Grenadians are mixed with Caribs.
Yes. I am.
So which explains why we're so feisty all the time.
Actually, I am. But I just want on the Arab side.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Paris were warlike and the Arabs were peaceful.
That's what they teach you.
Recently, there was I saw on YouTube there was a festival, it's something like an arts festival they had in Grenada where you brought in like
the creative industry.
Creative industries. I like that you guys took that step in Grenada to bring in people who had the experience from the UK and other places to promote creativity and art and even in movie producing. So
Yes.
how is your ministry helping and what role you're playing?
Right. So what we did from a policy standpoint when we came in was to take the creative industry and economy and place it under the Ministry of Economic Development. Because the challenge is there are a number of creative currently existing, but it's to make it into a revenue owner for them, into a business and not just another hobby. But in addition to that, what we discovered is from a cultural standpoint, as we just mentioned, we were not doing the developmental aspect of culture. So oftentimes someone has to go outside and study and then come back as a creative. They couldn't build that creativity in Grenada. So this is one of the reasons why what we need to do from a cultural standpoint is to teach pan tuning, is to teach costume making, is to teach those things so that we could have that Grenadianism transitioned into the professional realm and continue. Now, the creative economy and industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry worldwide. And the potential there is great. Not only just for creating jobs and providing an economic safe haven of sustainability for you, but it can actually work as a serious marketing tool for your country. Right? Jamaica is benefiting from that. Of course, the whole passion of reggae and all these other things, it's gone along and it's worldwide. Right? It moved to have reggae recognized as an actual global genre. Right? So there are a number of benefits that could come out of that. What we need to do is sit as a nation, which we're trying now, and to organize. Forget talking about personal things and so on. Let's focus on what we need. Right? We are young, so which means we may have some years under our belt and we intend to utilize it in the best way possible. It's early days. The intention is that we don't have all the answers. So this is why coming to here is important, because I can then hear from you and learn what the issues are and see how we can fix it. So as I say, you see the issue with culture, we need more of these things, where Grenadians throughout the diaspora in all parts of the world can go, sit down, plan, say what they are experiencing, say what they've learned in the area that they live, and pass that information on to Grenada. Because we intend to have more Unleash events. So next year we'll do another one, right? We're working with Cuba, and we're working with UN to provide scholarships in the area of the creative industry as well. So only recently I visited Cuba. Cuba has an excellent program for performing arts in terms of choreographing. They're very excellent with that, right? So it's something that we could learn from. We intend to send a delegation to Cuba to come. They will do a 2 or 3 week crash course and come back to help with the 50th for February. But as I mentioned, it's a work in progress, but we really have a lot of opportunities and we need to seize it.
I think it should be stressed a lot more in the schools also.
Yeah.
That's where you start, with the kids, because I mean we see a lot of examples like in the African movie industry and other places how they're making, as you say, billions in that industry. And for our young ones to grow up learning and being creative, you have to encourage that from the school system, I think.
Afrobeat music, for example, was a 10-year project that the Africans engaged in, and today look at the progress and the success that they are having. So I think we could learn from that and begin now to shape what we envision and work towards it, bit by bit. Yeah?
Yep.
One point to bring up, because was it this year or last year, there was someone up here and they had a session on I can't remember, it was a session in the in Concordia School with what's her name, the one that Aki. Yes, I attended that session and there was a young man there, I can't remember his name. He took my contacts and he sent me information pertaining to the indigenous people. So now they have this whole body of people that addressing the indigenous people of Grenada, which are the Caribs and Arawaks. So they had sessions already, they had meetings, I attended the meeting. And Mary, maybe you are aware? Yes, you got information too, yeah. So they have this indigenous people thing going on now. They have a body of people that are taking care of this. So at least the Caribs and Arawaks will be coming up more often and learning more of how we derive from those people.
In St. Vincent, they are called the Garifunas.
Garifunas.
And not only in St. Vincent, in Belize,
they
Guatemala,
Yes.
Honduras,
Yes.
all over in South America.
They moved
There's
there.
a lot of black people living in South America who is also related to us. They are Caribs, come from the Caribbean. Right? And talking about Jamaica, Jamaica is always one step of us in a lot of ways. Right? In fact, they are so bold, they even steal our name, the Spice Island. Hold on, let me get to it. This is why, it doesn't matter where they're Jamaica, this is why just a few years ago they tried to change our name and call us Pure Grenada. You understand? Just for we to get away from the Spice Island thing, so that Jamaica can continue calling themselves the Spice Island. You see, all those type of things we have to think about, right? Another thing, a lot of people doesn't know that Tobago was once belonging to Grenada.
It was not really belonging. They shared the same government.
Well, belonging because they sold Tobago. Grenada sold Tobago to Trinidad.
You serious? Well, so I'm confessing, the first time I'm hearing it.
They sold Tobago around 1899 directly to Trinidad because they borrowed money from Trinidad and they couldn't pay it back. So they just work out the difference and they take the money and gave Tobago to Trinidad. If you go to Tobago today, you would find most of the people would tell you they come from Sotés and Carriacou. Simple like that. So
They went from there with the ships. They went through with the boat from St. Patrick's to get up there.
and there's also a controversy going on where pan was invented. A lot of people think that Trinidadians invented pan, but Grenadians are saying that's not true. It's we invented it. There is a big controversy going on about it. And there's we can go on for the whole. We can go on the whole.
That is for when we get to Grenada, February 4th.
Yeah.
I will leave you for February the 4th.
But remember,
All right.
even though it was invented in Grenada, Trinidad is the one that
Exactly.
bring it out there. Is the same thing like it's the same thing like some of the inventors that make a lot of the things we are using in society right now in our household made by black men, but black men didn't know, the white men took it over. So that's the same thing in Grenada and Jamaica.
Right. We're going to get there eventually.
Going back to the Pure Grenada, it was the Grenada Tourism Authority that changed that, not.
No, I'm not saying, I'm never saying who changed it. I never say who changed it. And who gave the tourism authority to change our name? They are only a little body. That's unfair. Very much unfair. And the first person, the first person to start promoting it was a white guy from England. They bought him on TV. They never said it was tourism, the Ministry of Tourism, and who gave them that authority?
They should have taken a vote.
Exactly.
They should have just give us a name with all of us from the Spice. And now we call ourselves Pure Grenada. What pure about? Pure. Spice. That's we.
I just come out in Barbados, I say I'm from Grenada, and everybody, the Spice Island. That's how they know us.
How does artificial intelligence will affect Grenada, the youths, World Economic Forum? Is there any idea?
All right, so we're following that. ICT is a critical component of what we want to do. I think in Grenada we're still largely primitive. And I'll be honest with you, I purchased 4 books yesterday, and I use my card. I think the access to technology in countries like Grenada is still a challenge because bringing it down is one thing, but the cost to access it is another problem that we are faced with. Now, artificial intelligence throughout the world is doing wonders, but there's also a negative to it, which we need to manage, because if it gets out of hand, then some of the idle people, even in Grenada, will then use it for the wrong sets of things. What we need to do is from this early stage, begin to plan. Because like with everything, even the issue of marijuana in Caribbean countries, this is something that where marijuana and drug use is actually causing or wreaking havoc on a number of young people, and in particular young men in our societies. But even today, we are not actually focusing on the positives of it. We are seeing the effects of the negatives. And part of the problem is our own policymakers' ability to sit and plan and put the industries in place and put the measures, the stopgap measures, and prevent abuses. That is not being done. So rather than dealing with the problem, we're dealing with the symptoms. That is something that I think we need to plan for. So in particular with artificial intelligence and its ability to help with our healthcare and our agriculture, these are two areas that we believe it can contribute. In particular, dealing with prediction of weather for the farmers so that we can plan our agriculture and not operate with backyard gardening. And in the area of healthcare, so that some of the specialized work that has to be done, it can actually be facilitated through robots. But I'm saying that is more for a long term, that's a tunnel vision. I may not even be around. I'm young, but I'm still.
About 10 years ago, I went to Grenada, right? And there was two youths standing next to each other like this, with cell phone in their hands. And after 10 minutes, they said, "Dad, could you give me $10 to top up to talk to each other?" And they were right here. So, you know, everybody has a phone, and but they're next to each other. And when they finish, instead of saying go into the woods and pick up some oko and cocoa or whatever and sell, they go, "Daddy, give him a $10 to pop up." And Daddy say, "Oh, I gotta go and pick up the cocoa, go and sell it so you could give his, you know what I mean?" So how is the tradition gonna change? You know, what do you see with that?
It starts with the mindset. That's a mindset problem. And that is one of the most difficult elements to change in a society. But it's difficult, but if you lead by example, I think people are going to latch on. Take, for example, the reduction in the use of sugar in our diets. Because largely, I understand what everybody would say, and I may be a little controversial, but I think all these diseases like obesity and hypertension, all these things, is actually what we consume. And it's not, in my view, it's not hereditary. It's based on our consumption patterns, and in the Caribbean, we might eat a lot of this. Oil dung, for example. We love it, but it's a killer, right? But so we have to manage these things. So it starts with the mindset. I think if we take a 10-year project and we educate the young people in society in a particular way and start to position a new man and a new woman, that type of thinking, we are going to see some results and changes over time. But these things will not happen instantaneously. So we have to manage expectations, but we have to continue to plan for it. We're going to get setbacks and so on, as I said. But I think if we work towards changing the mindset, we'll see some of these things altered over time.
All right, let me just correct you. Oil dung is not a killer. Oil dung is one of the best food in the world. Listen, I'll tell you why oil dung is one of the best food in the world. Number one, it has coconut in it. Yes. Coconut carry a high level of magnesium. Yes. And we put turmeric in it. Yes. Don't you know that turmeric is one of the best medicine in the world now? Yes. And then we put breadfruit in it. Yes. And breadfruit is very good to boost your immune system. Yes. And we put dashin. Yes. We put banana. And this is good carbohydrates. Don't let nobody tell you that carbohydrates is not good for you and carbs is not good for you. What not good for you is the artificial carbs, the dumplings, the spaghetti, the macaroni. That is what not good for you. That's the killer right there. So, I don't have callaloo, come on. We have pumpkins, we have okra, but you just don't consume too much. Everything is in moderation.
I'm certain Redneck would agree with me that is dung in the meat. So meat is a problem. All of that is good, but the meat, you're right, the meat is a problem.
And we have carbs. Our carbs come from the tree. That's good carbs. It's very good for you.
What is the amount?
It's just the amount. And don't let people tell you sugar is not good for you. I think the sugar is good. When our old people used to go to walk in the road, they used to sweeten the cocoa tea. Sweet, so they could walk for the whole day in the hot sun. When the sugar gets into your system and you're working hard, it turns into glucose. And it gives you energy.
But here, you know, we don't have this sun all the time. We don't.
It's a refined sugar, right? That's something to kill it.
Yes. Just like the
Anybody have any question again? I want to hear from.
I only have one question. So, thanks for coming. I know I'm just busy bringing you guys coming here and enjoying this this Spice Festival. Sorry, the Spice Island Cultural Festival. The Jabba would have killed me for saying something different. One question. During COVID, when we had the virtual events, we had an issue with getting the music from YouTube, because most of the artists in Grenada, when someone posts the music, becomes copyright infringement. What is the plans that the government have to assist the artists in that area?
So we need to work on the correct policy with it. Presently, there is nothing in place that properly supports artists in that regard. There is, I can't remember the name of the company right now, where they can copyright their material, but the copywriting of it is only one element. We have to work out the incentive package and so on around that as well. And I think we need to make it a little bit more accessible in some of the other countries where this is an issue. So people like Mr. Blaze and so on, when he was in the position, that's the kind of things that they should be utilized for. And you see, we need to take the opportunity now that we have Grenadians living throughout the world and build the networks that could help resolve some of these problems. Take, for example, some of the things are not available in Grenada that we get, let's say, on Microsoft as a website. We need to have that conversation, and we need to talk about having a Microsoft Caribbean version where Grenada can get access to its own dialect, patois, that kind of thing, so that we could promote our culture wherever we go. But it's something that is an issue, and I can't say that I have an answer for you right now, but I think it's something that we need to work on. But it will take the stakeholders of all Grenadians, both home and in the diaspora, to fix it. Yes.
Any other question?
Yes, I think I have one. Grenadians that live in here in Montreal, we have an issue in getting to Grenada.
Yeah.
You know, Air Canada is our mode of transportation, and for half the year it does not travel to Grenada. I would like to know why. Because I tried to get to Grenada, I was being sent to Texas, then Miami, and New York, then Miami, then Grenada. I mean, it's a 32-hour flight, and a lot of the elder people likes to travel to Grenada. It's very hard on them with the airport, what's going on with the airlines these days, with delays and cancellations and stuff. To put a 30-hour flight on, it's ridiculous. So I'd like to know what's happening with Air Canada.
All right, and the simple answer is room stock. Part of the challenge is that we need to build out the room stock that we have as hotels, guest rooms, etc. But I think it's an opportunity we should use to create a unique experience where Grenadians who have homes, for example, could be included a part of the island's room stock, so that even the staff on the airlines could overnight, so that they can then have round-the-clock flights, because it will take some time to travel in terms of the distance, well, even if it's a direct flight. But if we have that opportunity where the airlines themselves can feel comforted, I think we could build something. What I would say to that too, in addition, is that the CEO of GTA is going to be in Montreal, I think this week. I believe that you should raise this issue with her as well, and get the direct response from the Tourism Authority as well, because it's something that they have flagged. In fact, Air Canada and GTA will announce an increase in flights coming to Grenada. I think it's going to move to 4 now. I don't have the exact number, but it will help and go a long way if they can understand probably what the major challenges are and see how they themselves can use their authority or influence and leverage the Air Canadian authorities in a serious way to help fix this problem. Because I think what we can utilize here, both in Toronto and in Montreal, is the large Grenada diaspora community that exists. and to demonstrate that you're actually going to be an excellent customer in terms of providing. In other words, you'll want to travel back and forth.
Well,
and if you get that,
I don't want to interrupt you there, but Air Canada has been traveling to Grenada for quite a number of years, right, for the past 30 or 40 years. So there is an interruption now. It happened about 5 years ago, and that is my issue. Because we in Montreal don't mind going to Toronto, catching an Air Canada flight and moving on. But the fact that half the year they don't go to Grenada, period, that is my issue. And with the 2 flights that they used to have, every time I get on one of those flights, either going or coming, it's full. So there is no excuse. Just 2, give us 2 flights a week. We don't need 5, 6 or whatever. You know, so that is my issue. Why the interruption?
right. So I don't have that specific answer. I wouldn't be able to answer that. But as I said, I think the tourism authority, you can ask them to account on it. They'll be here soon. And it's something you can raise with them, because I think we could solve that problem,
Yeah,
right?
thank you.
I think we could solve it.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe we could take just one more question, just one more. If anybody have just one more. Okay, so nobody else have a question. Okay, so I want to say, honestly, I want to say thank you very much, Brother Redhead. I mean, for the short instance here, you give us a lot of clarification.
Well, I'm very short myself.
I notice you have a good sense of humor, you know. You know, when I used to go to school years ago, there was a book called Reader's Digest. And one of my favorite columns I used to like to read was Laughter, the Best Medicine. I don't know much about nobody's books. But anytime I get a Reader's Digest, this is the first thing I look for. Laughter is the best medicine, right? So on behalf of SIDAC, I want to thank you very much for being here. I would also like to say that I heard you make a point just now there about instant coffee solution. And that kind of brings me back to Maurice Bishop, right? One of our greatest prime ministers that passed. Unfortunately, everybody know what actually happened. But there is no instant coffee solution to the problem that we face, especially politically. And I believe that is one of the kind of ways Grenadian mindset is that they expect things to happen in an instant, right? So you have a new government which gives you a mandate of 5 years, which is really short-term planning. To implement your program, you might need an extra 5. So let's say within 10, we're going to make a good judgment. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yes. So don't feel too bad about the instant situation for 5 years. Within 10 years, we will make a decision on that. So I want to thank you once again for being here. All right? I don't think we finished. Flickit is here. He going to entertain us. I'm only joking. But thank you guys very much for coming. And get something to eat.
Manje.
And Squeezy, you have a Jamaican. Oh, there's a Jamaican in the house too, you know. That's Melody.
Maroon Jamaican.
You see? Yeah, Jamaican. So, you know, we really multi, you know.
That's a beauty of it.
Yes, exactly, you know. And Grenadians, watch, we are the most, I don't know, Grenadians are involved with nothing here. We just laid back. We just really laid back. We cool. Right. Yeah, I think the system see us as being cool. Yes, trust me. You know? Yeah.
Guys, the only person that was knighted king in the American hemisphere was a Grenadian. His name was Henry Christophe.
Henry Christophe, yeah.
They knighted him king in Haiti after he fought the Buffalo Soldier War in America. You guys must buy the book. Yeah. You know that the Isle of Conflict.
I didn't know We met yesterday in the event, and just now I was told that you say you've been 5 more years on the run.
Alright.
I don't put this one thought. Anyway, you don't know who I am. Do you know what's my